the Lower Colorado River Authority, this is Wavelength.
Hi everyone, welcome to the January edition of Wavelength. You know, 1994 was a very busy and productive year here at the LCRA. I know we're all excited about the possibilities for 95. There's sure to be a lot of changes in store for all of us. One of the first changes of the new year was the election of new officers for the LCRA Board of Directors. Ray Knox of Blanco is the new board secretary. George Kaysen of Eagle Lake is vice chair, and Teddy Bame of Brenham is the new chair of the 15-member board. She says she's looking forward to the new challenge.
One thing I want to do is try to continue the strong relations that we have with our wholesale customers at this point. I think that's been one of our big pluses through the past few years, and I certainly want to continue that. It will probably be a really important redefining year for the power industry in general, and I think for the power industry in Texas, and we'll look forward to seeing what happens along those lines.
Teddy Bame was appointed by Governor Ann Richards in 1993 to represent LCRA's electric customers on the board. Her term expires in 1997.
Employees of the Sim Gideon Power Plant got a chance to meet face-to-face with the man whom the plant is named after. Mr. Gideon and his wife Olga Brett paid a visit to the plant during a holiday luncheon. One employee said that meeting Sim Gideon was like meeting a legend. Sim Gideon served as general manager of the LCRA for 18 years.
With the signing of this contract on December 29th, the LCRA wind power project took a giant leap forward. The agreement will allow power generated by the wind turbines in West Texas to be transmitted over lines owned by Texas Utilities of Dallas.
It says that we can take an idea and get it from the drawing board to the mountaintop in this particular project in a reasonable time frame, and I'm proud of the organization for doing that. But it hasn't been done on a crash or a panic basis. I mean, we've really analyzed and looked hard at it, but it is something that we've made a priority. We've gotten after it, and we made it happen. And that's the way we ought to do our business.
Thanks to the cooperative agreement, energy from the wind project could be used in Central Texas within a year.
This is LCRA's new Watchable Wildlife mobile unit. The Land Resources Division will use the unit as an educational tool to promote preservation of fish and wildlife through hands-on demonstrations.
It is adapted for multiple uses. We can put seats inside and look outside at a lake, or if you're in a deer habitat area, or we can put displays inside and use it that way.
The unit will travel throughout LCRA's service area, making stops at schools, festivals, and other community events. To schedule a visit, contact Tim Heffington at extension 3311.
Now let's join Robert Kulick for an update on some of the major issues that were discussed at the December board meeting.
Mark, we presented the fiscal year 1996 financial plan to the board. What changes are inherent in that financial plan? What do you see coming up for the next year?
Well, what we really talked about this meeting is the year to come, and as I said to the board, I think 1995 is going to be one of the more challenging years in the history of this organization. On the water resource side, we will be looking at some serious challenges as we begin to discuss the issue of a regional concept of water and what does this San Antonio, Corpus Christi assault on our water really mean, and what can we do about it in the future? Are we going to be proactive, or are we going to be reactive? And in doing that, how do we best represent the interest of the citizens along the Colorado River? At the same time, the electric utility industry is up for reorganization because the PUC is being sunsetted. We very well may see increased competition at the wholesale level in Texas, and LCRA asking for our competitive place at the table. Not so much that we can go out and compete against all the other utilities in Texas, but so that we can continue to represent the folks that we've been selling power to for over 60 years. I mean, we've been doing what we do for 6 decades now, and we just want to be able to continue to do that in the future and to be able to participate in a broader market, because that benefits the interest of Texas and certainly the citizens of Central Texas. So we're going to see the utility industry potentially completely reorganized, and we need to be active players in that. We're going to be going to the legislature asking them to broaden our act and to make community development a part of our mission instead of styling it as just economic development. That's one of our 5 statutory lines of business, and we're going to flesh that out. Lastly, I mean, it is a new year, so we need a new organizational chart. I mean, it wouldn't be me if I didn't mess around with the organizational chart. But I am going to make a few changes there, mainly to reflect the things that have come out of the board retreat in September and some management sessions that we've had. And our organizational chart, the way we're structured, ought to reflect the 5 lines of business. If we've got 5 statutory lines of business, you pick up an organizational chart, you ought to be able to see them. That chart ought to tell you what we do and how we do it.
With all these changes, we're really taking a look toward the future. What's the significance? What do you want employees to get out of the 60th anniversary, which is also coming up in this year?
You know, the 60th anniversary means to me, we take a second look back at what we've done, but our eyes really need, the best gift we can give ourselves and the folks of Central Texas is to look forward to the next 60 years and make it as productive and as meaningful as the last 60 years has been. And we're going to do that.
Every day at the LCRA, employees generate thousands of documents, memos, purchase orders, contracts, and correspondence, just to name a few. Earlier this year, the LCRA began an aggressive program to help employees better understand which of those documents need to be saved and which ones can be thrown away. According to Karen Strong, an expert in records management, a good record retention program can help the agency operate more efficiently, and it can keep employees and the company out of trouble.
If an organization doesn't follow their retention schedule, which means that they either destroy records before its time or they keep records beyond the recommended time of completion, you can find that there can be both personal and organizational penalties, liabilities, and ramifications from that and from ignoring what the law says.
In the coming months, each department will receive detailed instructions on what records they must keep and for how long. Until then, it's recommended that everyone watch what they throw away.
This beautiful property on the Colorado River in Smithville has always had the potential of being a wonderful park. Now, through the hard work and dedication of a lot of people, it is.
And 3. Great, good job.
The Vernon Richards Riverbend Park is officially dedicated. Smithville Mayor Vernon Richards says the park would not exist without teamwork and cooperation between Smithville, Texas Parks and Wildlife, and the LCRA.
And without them, like I say, we wouldn't be standing here today. And I especially want to thank Mark Rose and the Board of Directors of LCRA for your thoughtful participation.
LCRA board member Clinton Wright was a member of the Smithville City Council that made the decision to go forward with the park.
I want to say a special thanks to the employees of the city of Smithville. You're tremendous. I love every one of you. You've done a super job. I know you worked hard. In the heat of the summer, I know you were here. Today, you were here very early, but you made it happen. And I think we can all go out of this town and be so proud of what we have accomplished here.
In 1987, the LCRA did not own any parkland on the Colorado River between Austin and the Gulf Coast, a situation that has changed drastically today because of LCRA's Colorado River Trail program.
And LCRA at that time had just about made the decision that we were out of the park business. In fact, at my first board meeting that I went to in '87, that was the decision that I heard the board make. But through the efforts of folks out in the community and people such as Vernon Richards, we turned that commitment around and re-entered into the park business.
Vernon Richards retired after working for Southwestern Bell Telephone Company for 37 years. He's been mayor of Smithville since 1988. Former President Harry Truman made famous the expression, "the buck stops here." Now for Sim Gideon plant manager Tommy Higgins, those words took on a whole new meaning during a recent trip to Marble Falls. Now here's LCRA Ranger Kenneth Poe with the details.
According to the accident report, on or about November the 18th that afternoon, Tommy Higgins was reportedly walking in this parking lot when he heard the sound of hooves approaching him from behind. The subject and a friend turned to see what was coming, but it was too late. With tremendous vengeance, an 8-point buck attacked Mr. Higgins. The perpetrator is described as a handsome animal with brown eyes and weighs approximately 115 pounds. It's possible the beast may still have a piece of clothing caught on his right antler. If the buck has survived the deer hunting season of the Texas Hill Country, this buck may strike again. So we're urging you all to use extreme caution when crossing and walking through empty parking lots. I'm Ranger Kenneth Poe.
Now, some of you may think this story was a spoof, but I guarantee you it actually happened. And the good news is that Tommy Higgins' broken leg is healing just fine. However, his pride is still recovering. Well, now from the bizarre to the even more bizarre, we've been looking for some time here on Wavelength to give you, our viewers, a different perspective of the things that happen around the agency. And we think we have found the one person who truly has a unique view of the company, Tom Glenn, the manager of the Smithville Railcar facility. So here's Tom's video postcard from Smithville.
Good day and greetings from the Smithville Railcar facility. I was looking here at my 1995 calendar. I always love a new year. Gives me a chance to kind of make a few of those New Year's resolutions. I've been thinking about maybe losing a little of that weight, maybe getting that handicap down a little bit, but also thought maybe LCRA might have a few resolutions of their own. I mean, take those computer types. I mean, I think they ought to be able to get that email at least as fast and reliable as the U.S. Postal Service. And meetings, I mean, last year it seemed like that was all I did. I was either going to, coming from, or at a meeting, and all we'd ever do is sit around at the meeting and discuss why we weren't getting anything done. And reorganizations. I mean, I saw more reorganization last year than I saw paychecks, and neither one of them lasted very long. And mission statement. I mean, give me a break. They'll send me a copy of the mission statement, the ink's still tacky, and then they're telephoning me, telling me they're getting ready to send me the revised copy. And with this email system we got, I mean, sometimes I get the revised edition before I get the original. I don't know. That's just some thoughts I had. Well, I better mosey on over and see what my guys are doing. So this old Supreme Commander saying, you be better to your neighbors, and I guarantee you're going to have some better neighbors. We'll catch you the next time.
If you've got some ideas for Tom, you can drop him a postcard at the Smithville Railcar facility.
"1995 marks our 60th anniversary here at the LCRA. So to help commemorate the occasion, each month on Time Capsule, we'll be taking you back to 1935 to explore the early days of the agency. In our 60 years of existence, there have been 99 people on the LCRA Board of Directors. On February 9, 1935, Texas Supreme Court Chief Justice C.M. Curtin swore in 9 men to serve on the prestigious board. They were a diverse group from throughout the state. C.R. Pennington was an insurance agent from Abilene. Roy Fry was a drugstore owner from Burnett County. Thomas C. Ferguson, also from Burnett County, was a young lawyer, and in 1974, LCRA would name a power plant in his honor. A.J. Reinhardt was a U.S. labor negotiator from Fort Worth. Fritz Engelhard was a rice farmer and legislator from Colorado County. J.R. Key was a businessman from Lampasas. Roy Inks was the mayor of Llano, and in 1936 a dam was named in his honor. Raymond Brooks of Austin was a member of the American Statesman staff, and Ralph Yarborough was an assistant attorney general and later became a United States senator. The original LCRA Act allowed anyone in the state to serve on the board of directors, but the legislation was amended in 1940 to limit appointees to the 10-county statutory district. Later amendments increased the number of directors from 9 to 15 and added members from the electric service area. Next month on Time Capsule, we'll tell you about a man who was very influential in the creation of LCRA, Senator Alvin Wirtz.
Christmas is traditionally the one day of the year when businesses close down, people forget about work, even the shopping malls are closed. But that is certainly not the case here at LCRA. On Christmas Day, when most people are snug at home with their families, nearly 100 employees are busy cranking out the electricity.
Well, it's December 25th, 1994, Christmas Day. We're out here keeping everybody's lights on and LCRA operations under control, so this is where we're at for Christmas Day.
The sacrifice of working on Christmas Day didn't go by unnoticed, however, as General Manager Mark Rose dropped by to thank most of the employees personally.
Merry Christmas to you.
This is a $10 gift certificate to the company store. And like I told them, I've been told there is actually something you can buy for $10.
Oh, well, thank you.
At the Ferguson Power Plant, photographer Jim Honish captured these scenes and greetings from the control room.
Doing what I gotta do, make that electricity. So have a nice Christmas.
Meanwhile, at the Fayette Power Project, all 3 units were online, and employees enjoyed a rather untraditional meal.
We enjoyed a good meal. We cooked us some enchiladas, and all the wives seem to have packed snacks, different treats for us, and it's been a overall pretty good day here at the power plant.
As we visited the Sim Gideon plant, we found one employee who actually volunteered to work.
I'm working for Terry Johnson today. He got 3 little kids, and he had plans, and he just moved up to Operation Area Supervisor and went to another shift. So I worked for him today.
Well, that's a nice Christmas present in and of itself.
So on Christmas Day 1994, all of LCRA's power plants were up and going, helping to make it a warm and toasty holiday for the rest of us here in Central Texas.